Another big, measurable guy, right? So height, weight, speed, the way he plays the game, he's smart. Gives us, again, the flexibility, do a bunch of different things. So um, he was very intriguing to me. We did a great job going to get him.
Was he almost exclusively safety there, or did he cover some slot guys?
More safety, he did do some of that, but more deep zone type guy, and but he has shown all of it on tape. Just a little bit more of the other stuff.
Is he more of a center field free safety or an in the box physical?
I think he can do a little bit of both. He's again done both of it. So we'll see. We'll get our hands on him and see how it goes.
Big special teams guy, is Darren satisfied?
I can't speak for Darren, but I'm again a guy that can run real well. He's done it in his history. So those guys are hard to find that run that fast.
I see 4.36.
Yeah, he's all of that, so right around 4.4, 4.3. Once you're talking about those numbers, it's fast enough.
So with Dax and Cam
Mm-hmm.
and now Tycen, that's three guys that all broke 4.4 for your secondary. Seems like that was something you really targeted.
Yeah, I just think the more in today's NFL, we're going to play a bunch of great receivers, as we all know. Think about Miami's speed on their perimeter, right, with Tyreek and Waddle and the guys in our division. There's speed everywhere. So, especially in the back end, those guys are going to get out of position some just by the nature of their jobs. And if they can't get back into the play, they're going to struggle. So these guys do have the makeup and recovery speed, and that's what we're looking for.
You haven't drafted a ton of defensive backs since you joined the team before this year. Like, you've valued speed this year. Have you always valued speed, or did you look at the defense you have right now and say speed is what we need to add to this defense?
I just think it was a component that came with these players. There's always a fine line of what's fast enough, as long as the play speed shows to a degree. But these guys, had kind of all of those things: height, weight, speed. And the length part, which is important to me back there. So, it was a great part of it.
With Gaither, Wilson, Hubbard up front, I mean, overall, do you think your defensive unit speed is amongst the best in the league on an overall position by position?
I would like to think so. We've got some guys at each level, as you mentioned, that can really run, and that's where this game has gotten to. So,
Obviously, you mentioned with the additions inside the conference, the quarterback-wise, receiver-wise, all that. How much of that was with this in mind, or how much of this is a little preemptive based on where Vaughn and Jesse are?
Yeah, just thinking about this year, to be honest, and adding good players. And so, we felt like these, as we looked at the board and as it fell this way, these were the guys that we had high regard for, so we went after them.
I know you said yesterday, Lou, that this also gives you when you add more and more safeties or defensive backs, the chance to put more defensive backs on the field at the same time. Is this a continuation of that?
Yeah, for sure. Again, as you said, as I mentioned yesterday, we've had packages where there's six for sure, but sometimes even 7 of them out there, and no other position does that, and so you can never have enough DBs, especially coming from a DB coach by heart. So.
Sorry. Naturally, we're going to talk about the 40s and the speed.
Mm-hmm.
How important is the change of the direction and his 3-cone and 3
Yeah.
cones? Part of it evaluated.
Yeah, it's a part of it for sure. They have to be. They can. You always hear the term straight line fast, and some guys can't stop. And stopping and starting is a huge part of it. Because wideout knows where they're going and we don't, and it's as simple as that. And if the guys can't put the brakes on, and they're going to give up a lot of completion. So the short area quickness is certainly a part of it. So we're fortunate there.
When you were watching the tape, how well did he handle that transition going from free to strong as he progressed into the
Good, yeah. No. Again, they moved around some, but it's really. These days, it's really not that big of a deal. In college, they're both about the same. They both play two high zones, and one will drop down. It's not so much like we do where it's a lot of single high stuff for those guys. They're more both safeties. I remember back in the day when I was coaching college, it's a boundary safety, a field safety. It's more that way than it necessarily is in the box post safety. Now, everybody's different, but, this guy can cover some ground for sure.
Is it fair to say a lot of the single high looks that y'all like are because you have a guy like Jesse who has so much range on the back end?
I think that plays a part of it, but we're always going to try to, it's just my philosophy. We're going to try to outnumber them on the early downs and make them throw into tight coverage, and stop the run and get them into off schedule downs as best we can. And to me, that's always been it. Again, each week will be different, as you guys know, but that's kind of how I think about it when I look at the game.
Outnumber them at the line of scrimmage or the secondary?
Always at the line of scrimmage. Yeah.
Looks like he's a two-time captain. What did coaches and other contacts tell you about his intangibles?
Yeah, great. All thumbs up with this guy. Anytime you're a two-time captain, for sure, as it shows. We've put a premium on that, as you all know, over the last few years, and it's worked well for us. And this is just another guy to add to it. So, it's an added benefit that comes along with a heck of an athlete.
Tackling's not a lost form.
No.
How is his tackling?
Again, all these guys that come out, they're always going to have a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to all of it, especially tackling. Every time they come in my room on these 30 visits, what I do is I sit down and I show them one of the biggest plays of the year in my book was it's 1st and 10. Tennessee gets the ball back with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the divisional game. They've got 2 timeouts where the game's tied. So to me, the playbook is open for them. Okay, it's not necessarily 2 minutes. They run the ball on the perimeter with Derrick Henry, and it's Cheeto and Derrick Henry, one-on-one. And we've all seen what that looks like for most corners in this league. He's made highlights of it. Well, Cheeto knocks the stiff arm down, and it's 2nd and 7. And that leads to what ended up being the interception. If he doesn't make that tackle, it's probably a 20-yard run before Jesse can ever get over there because everybody was kind of pinned. So I show those guys that immediately. Okay, so this is the NFL. You're going to be in one-on-one with guys like this, and you have to get them on the ground. It's like a base hit in baseball. I don't care if it's a dribbler through the right side because they shifted to the left. It goes down as a hit. Get them on the ground. And these guys will have to learn that it's not going to be a knockout hit. You want to be a singles hitter as a tackler, not a home run hitter.
Did he visit? Did you bring him in?
No, I wasn't able to get him on that, but he will when he gets here. He will see it. It's one of my favorite 5 minutes of my time with the guys.
I assume you met with him on Zoom?
Yeah, we've done a great job with all that. And Rob did it, and I kind of jumped in on it, and combine, the whole process. So yeah, he's quite the guy. You guys are gonna like him.
Just what's this draft been like for you as a whole personally, getting so many young defenders that fit your vision and what you want?
It's great. As I mentioned yesterday, I think we went free agency the last few years on defense and more offensive guys in the draft, and it kind of flipped a little bit this year, obviously. So again, I think we're set up the right way. We have veteran leadership now that these young guys can come and, I think I mentioned it the other day, Cam's going to come in and he's going to sit there, and Mike Hilton's going to sit here, and Cheeto's going to sit there, and he's going to turn left and right, and he's going to have 2 great veteran players to learn from. And we coach them, obviously, but there's so much more to it these days on learning how to be a pro, how to go about your everyday business, and those who could have 2 better guys than that, along with Vaughn and Jesse and Eli and the rest of the group. But all the positions have those type of guys. Zach Carter, here's Sam Hubbard, here's Trey Hendrickson, here's DJ Reader. And then what Coach Hobb up in the front, it's we're very fortunate, and so are the players.
I take it since you traded up, you were surprised to see Anderson still on the board?
Again, we had good grades on them, and we went up a few spots. So yeah, it was. Anytime you still got a guy there that's hanging, I think everybody gets a little anxious, but it worked out, so it was good.
On the Zooms, you were satisfied with his football IQ, obviously?
Yes.
That he had a good idea of why he was doing what he was doing?
Yeah, he could talk football well, good instincts, able to communicate. He's a good overall player and has a great idea and great feel for what they were doing. And certainly we talked a little bit about what we would be doing, and he handled it well.
How much of is it going to be a huge transition, or are there some parallels where it'll be an easier transition, what you're going to ask him to do to what he did?
I think any player these days coming from college, there are some pretty significant differences in the amount of defense that they're going to have to do. You watch a college game, and the first thing that strikes me when I watch it is how fast, like they're just getting on the ball and trying to run as many plays. Not everybody, but that's the general theme, right? So the defenses just line up fast. They all look to the side, get a signal, and they go. So there's a lot to that, but there'll just be a little bit more volume of things that they have to learn, and kind of the weekly changes within the scheme. But I'm not worried. I think the guys that we've taken will take to it and learn it and have no problems. All right, we still have one more pick.